Welcome back to Retro Wednesday at the Tidarium Hangar. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with another video talking about the GoBots Command Center. This thing is probably not the best playset ever made in the Vintage line, but it's probably one of the most iconic, one of the most known, and one of the most remembered playsets around. We're going to talk about all these features coming up. Let's have a good look at this box here. Now this is the top portion of the box, and it kind of folds in on the bottom portion, and it's sort of reminiscent of kind of Star Wars. And this isn't the only way this is reminiscent of Star Wars. If you do not notice the resemblance here, this is kind of a cool box. Now this is kind of a slip cover over the top of the brown box, and it is the very top of the entire box. The artwork looks kind of cool. It shows the exact figure. I mean, there's no fudging it. There's no crazy artwork to it. But down here with the brown box and the red writing, it is reminiscent of kind of how they did with the Star Wars, where they had the black line drawings on the back of the box and the really nice stuff on the front. Here's the GoBot Command Center in its walker mode, or whatever you would want to call this mode, and it matches the box very well. Now you're going to see a few things about this, and I'm going to get it out of the way first because everybody wants to call this an AT-AT. So here it is compared to a Star Wars AT-AT. Now this is the 97 release version. I had one in my kids' room. I didn't want to get one of my vintage ones off of the top shelf. That would have been a pain in the butt. So I just grabbed this one. It's right there. It was real easy. But you could see a size comparison between these, a stylization comparison between these. And a lot of people try to say, okay, well, they copied them, but if you really think about it, GoBots came slightly before The Empire Strikes Back. So it wasn't that GoBots copied Star Wars, and I truly don't think George Lucas copied the GoBots. Or did he? Looking inside, you're going to see a few things with this. You're going to see that it does have this clear plastic kind of a shell, kind of a cover for this. It's a cockpit cover. Now in the show it kind of felt like they were all huddled up in here, not in the base. They would fly around huddled up in here. There's a couple of figures you could probably shove in there if that's something you want to do. It's not something I want to do. And looking at this, now this one does not have the best stickers. The other one I have is probably in better shape for stickers, but I do want to show one in the walking mode and one in the combined or the base mode, I guess you would call that, because the moving of these joints can cause damage to the frame. So I'm not going to move these joints at all in this video, but I'll show you how they move. Now this is Station 1 sticker, and there's some interesting stuff going on here. And then this is Station... Moving on sticker. Let's move around to the back. Now on the back here, you're going to have this ramp. It's a lowering ramp, and you do have to kind of open it up to get the ramp out, which kind of sucks, but it is kind of cool because this thing won't just flop out on its own. And there is the lowering ramp. Now this red piece, this red translucent piece here, is also called an enemy detector, and again it can read some sort of stickers that you would put on your bad guys or something. So that's kind of a thing that they do. Moving it over here, we have a Station 5 and a Station 7. I don't really know all the stations and what they're supposed to do, but then we also have these legs here, and they do fold up. So when you fold them up, and I'm not going to do it because I don't want to break or stress the plastic on the inside, because I'm just going to leave it in this mode. But when you do fold them up, it kind of would turn into a more of a flying mode, flying station, and that's kind of how that works. When you want to put it in its base mode, you're going to open this up. And of course, a lot of people would want to put the legs down, unlike myself, which I don't want to. And you'd open it up like this and see all the stuff going on inside. Now that it's opened up and in its full playset mode, let's go ahead and have a look at this bad boy. It looks interesting. It looks like there's a lot going on with this playset. There's a lot of stickers. There's a lot of things to look at, a lot of little rooms. Let's go into it one at a time. Starting here, we have the Alien Detention Center, and what you can see in here is the Alien Detention Center is also the GoBot Rematerializer. So I guess you could say that they rematerialized the GoBots there. But see, these bars here are kind of like a jail. So Detention Center, Rematerializer, interesting stuff that they have going on right there. And looking at that, I put Cykill in there, and I put Chopper in there. I guess he's actually Coptor, but it's kind of cool. That's kind of like a gel cell in my mind. Moving down lower here, we have the Interrogation Center. It seems like something that Turbo would be good at, and it does show some bad guys in there that are wanted that you'd want to interrogate and ask them, you know, what's going on. I think it's kind of cool because in this one, you have an enemy detector in the Interrogation Center, and you can flip this piece up or down, and there's a decal for both sides. I thought that was kind of a cool feature. Let's get down here to Tank, and let's go ahead and detect the enemy. Now, I hear there's something about some sort of stickers that you put on these guys that would sort of make you know if they're a good guy or a bad guy faction. I don't really know anything about that. I've just heard about it. But down here, it says the Trauma Center. So I guess you would fix the figures in the Trauma Center. You can see a GoBot laying there getting some surgery or something. So on this other side, you see kind of a recharge station. It doesn't really say much other than it's fuel, but you could hook up a GoBot to get some fuel. You could probably hook up another GoBot. You wouldn't really want to fuel up Crasher here. I mean, that wouldn't be a smart idea for Guardian to fuel up Crasher, but there's two different style of fuel up hoses, and they don't really plug into anything or do anything, but they're made of rubber, and they are kind of cool. They do plug in and out of here, and they're interchangeable. And it's one of the funny things that I kind of never had these hoses until recently. So it looks like we have the cafeteria, and today's menu is the tune-up casserole, the gyro gasket special, the blast off burger, and the turbo treats. I think Scooter's hungry in here, but yeah, he's gonna enjoy his meal. And then up top we have something called the Enemy Reprogramming Center, which seems like a good place for Crasher. You know, Crasher seems like she could be a good lady, a good gal, if she was reprogrammed properly. But I don't think the Guardians ever had the ability to do that. So now looking here, you're going to see that there is a platform located next to the elevator, and you can elevate up whoever you want. In this case, it's going to be the Leader 1. So there's a little function on the back of this thing that you squeeze, and you lift him up, and he goes to the next notch. So it notches and stops at the next level, so he can check out and see what's going on there. Let's go to the next level, see where it stops, and it kind of stops here, which you could go there. It'll be fun to see if it stops actually at this detention center. There it goes. It did stop at the detention center, but there's one more room that you can go to. So the secret room, it's the top secret room, and let's put him back behind here so we can get to it. Here he is, and we're going to take a closer look at this secret room. So this room here is called the Strategy Chamber, and if you remove Leader 1 from the Strategy Chamber, you're going to notice that it has a sticker in it. There's a little bit of space for a figure. In fact, I almost never used this as a kid. I had one of these as a kid, of course, and it was a lot of fun to play with, but I didn't play with it as intended. This room doesn't make sense. I never used it, but it's still kind of cool. I want to point out how this ramp just kind of sits there doing nothing while it's in this mode. It's just kind of there, but I'm glad it doesn't have to detach. It all stays in one. Now, one more feature you're going to see with this is the alert mode feature. So you push this button here, and if you have a 9-volt hooked up, it does this. Now, it's 5 beeps, and it is really annoying, but it's kind of like alert, danger, 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 Will Robinson. And it works. It gets the job done, and it's a fun gimmick for a kid back in the day of the 80s. Nowadays, this thing would say 15 different phrases, light up in 8 different places. But then again, this thing probably only cost 20 bucks back in the day. This thing would be 50 nowadays. Add a little tip and trick to your GoBots figures, and over the years I have collected many Cykills, and every Cykill has the same problem where I can't keep these wheels on his arms. They just fall off. but since I did this video, I was scared to death of using him and losing one of his wheels. So I used an old Transformers trick, and it's called the clear nail polish, or this one's called like a top coat. Can you see it? Oh, let's focus. Focus on the top coat. Read that top coat right there. It was $1 at Walmart, and I applied a little bit to the peg that goes in the wheel, and then a little to the inside of the hole, and as you can see, it does the trick. I mean, I did this with my X-Transbots version of their Megatron, and I got a lot of results on his shoulders before we got the upgrade shoulders. So it stands to reason it would work on a very, very, very simplistic toy like this, and I'm pleased with the results. So I have a couple of size comparisons I want to do with this set. So if you have the power suits, and you like your power suits, and you want to maybe display your power suits next to it, that's about how tall they are next to the command center in the command center. So if you're a fan of the Action Robo line, they will more likely fit this very well. You could display every single one of your Action Robo figures in all of these panels, except it probably wouldn't work very well in this one. This one they could kind of be a little higher in it, but I like the Action Robo line. I just felt they were too small, but now I'm finding a good reason that they're so small. They could work with the original command center. So I really hope you enjoyed this look at the GoBots Command Center playset and all of the features and functions that it does. Hopefully it brings you back to a simpler time where things were a lot more fun, and a lot more simple. Like, subscribe, Titanium Hanger out.
Welcome back, Sidekick.